This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to the Voice for Fitness Professionals podcast, where I share programming, marketing, and promotion strategies that are easy, enjoyable, even fun, so you can create a business and a life you love. And this episode is part of the Career Planning Optimization series, where I'm hosting a variety of fitness professionals in business. They're master trainers with longevity of successful and profitable business. They're certification creators, experience, expertise, and insights to give you takeaways you can use right now to plan a better future. And bringing up the rear in this series of 7 experts is Erin Carson. Erin's co-owner and operator of RallySport in Boulder, Colorado since 1991. In addition to the leadership duties associated with running a successful training facility and health club, Erin runs ECFit Boulder, a strength program designed for those seeking to perform at their very best. Her clients include world champions and Olympians, as well as everyday athletes seeking excellence. Erin's the strength coach for many current and former world championship athletes, including Mirinda Carfrae, Duffy, 2-time ITU world champion, and Timothy McDonald, long course triathlon world champion, just to drop a few names. Erin's commitment to continuing education plus her proven track record of success with professional athletes has made her one of the most knowledgeable and accessible strength coaches in the world. And I am lucky enough to get to work with her and watch her in action. Erin, thanks so much for taking time out to be here.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So you had a great answer when we asked you, what's the thing you wish you'd known when you started personal training? And we're kind of taking an angle or a slant on that today and talking about, you're here in this mecca of personal training, of coaching, and you've got lots of people who want to be in Boulder, lots of active coaches and trainers who want to be in Boulder and work for you. I mean, it's the place to be. But there are obvious signs and symptoms that somebody is either going to succeed or fail, and you've got it pretty well nailed. So share the dirt. What are the most important qualities that you look for when you're interviewing personal training candidates?
Typically, before I even meet somebody in person, I love to see a well-rounded resume and just at least some evidence that some legwork has been done towards some good level of knowledge. And I'll be really honest, and you and I have spoken so many times about this. I don't need a master's degree in exercise physiology or a doctoral candidate in integrative physiology, or I don't even need a top credential. I'm really looking for an amazing person, somebody who has empathy and compassion and also has a clear understanding of what it means to be a fitness professional, and not just, and I think it was probably, it was probably 10 or 15 years ago when I started to interchange the word fitness professional with personal trainer. And to me, at the time, and even now, those two things bring up a vision in my mind of two different people, even though either one could use the name. And I think, Deborah, we've both walked a few steps in this profession, and I've interviewed people who I would say, oh, you're a personal trainer, because they come in and their sunglasses are on their head and, their T-shirt is rolled up so I can make sure I can see that they have beautiful arms, and, the chest is puffy and beautiful. And, there's just this attention to detail within their physique, but maybe not the way they're dressing it up. And I wouldn't necessarily say, wow, this fitness professional. So I think that initial attraction of professionalism is something that can really get my attention early in the relationship. And how they walk in, whether they look me in the eye, that they shake my hand, and that they have that professional posture when they're talking to me at the time. They're looking me in the eye. Those things are really important to me.
Got it. Tell me something. So if you had to say there's a percentage, I mean, how often do you get those golden gooses, those fitness professionals?
And well said, because maybe it's 50-50. And I'll be real honest. I know most of the people that make it into my office for an interview, I could hire. They're that impressive. But I've had people walk in. I really want to hire them, but I'm struggling because they just haven't tried to impress me. And I think in an interview situation, you should be trying to impress somebody. So I say, we're going to do this again tomorrow. And I'm going to take a little bit of responsibility that I didn't guide you well enough. And I want you to wear something professional to the interview. So if we're going to do this again tomorrow, or if you want to just do it in an hour, I'm good with that. So I have done that in the past. I really want to give you this job. I really want us to have a great interview. But what the way that you're presenting yourself to me right now, I can't take you that seriously. You have basketball shorts on, your sunglasses are on your head. That's not okay with me. So I've done it, and I've hired that person, and they learned along the way.
So you really tell them, what some of the key performance indicators almost are and what your expectations are even before you get to the point of offering them a position.
Yes, because even at this point where I'm 25 years or so into my career, if I have a new client meeting, somebody that I'm really, and at this point, anybody that I'm going to bring into my personal training practice or my professional fitness training practice, I want them in my practice. I want to impress them. So even my staff, when I walk in sometimes, what I wear when I'm just doing a normal work day, and I always try to look good, but I will look extra good when I want to show up for that new client meeting, because I want that client to know that every single time that we meet, it's important to me that I tried.
Love that. That's a great message. Even 25 years in, right? You don't take it for granted.
Absolutely. Yep.
And okay, so there may be a little overlap here, but what are those key behaviors? If you've kind of come down to, all right, I've seen this over time, I've seen this repeated pattern, what are the big behaviors that indicate early success that out of the gate, somebody is going to make it?
I really think that, the way I manage, and I clearly did not make this up, but I manage from the 3 Ps. The first and most important thing that I kind of articulated in our first part of our conversation was the people, that you are more important than anything. And then the second thing is the product, how you train, what you know, how you program your clients, what your overall philosophies are on nutrition and flexibility and tissue care and getting strong or getting fast or whatever that is. You need to have a really solid, well-rounded product. But I think what I'm hoping for is that they really understand that perhaps the toughest part of our job is the process. And that's client acquisition and energy and understanding what our potential clients or our audience might be attracted to. And I can honestly tell you that on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give myself a strong 7.5. So when I walk in a room, people aren't going, oh my God, she's the most beautiful person in the world. Physically, I want to train with her. I am not a 10. But I can kind of work with what I have, and my personality, my energy, my level of caring of people, the ease of my personality is what people are attracted to. And I think each of us can use those physical attributes or that personality attributes to put our audience in a comfortable place. It makes me nervous sometimes to hire 10s with who are shy, because a really good-looking physical personal trainer or fitness professional walking into a room can be extremely intimidating. So the better looking you are, the friendlier and less walls you have to have around you. And so I think knowing who you are and having a really set process to put people at ease so they might consider that they would want to train with you, I think that's kind of important. And I try to help I think that's probably what I'm best at when I'm guiding young trainers. I don't expect them to show up with those skills, but I really hope they know how they fit and where they fit.
I love that. So the big summaries that I've gotten from you, these big points are the 3 Ps, different 3 Ps than in marketing or not. And then, while you're working on your certifications and your education, you got to be working on you, not just the biceps, but work on you. I have heard you say something. Yes. I have heard you say something that you didn't say today, but it stuck with me. And I don't know if you remember this or if it's something you say frequently or I just caught you saying this, but it was so pivotal. I think it came out of a nonchalant conversation, but you said something when you were talking to a small group of trainers, and it was to the extent that it was about, not just being interested, but about being interesting, that's a big part of it. And you have to be both. You have to be interested in your client, but part of the reason they may come back to you is because you are also interesting as a character, a person they want to interact with.
Yeah, I talk a lot about that in the process. So a lot of times we talk about what we read, and a lot of times as fitness professionals, we get jazzed by reading about physiology and techniques and stuff like that. And a lot of times our clients want to be able to talk about what's happening in the world, what's happening a little bit lightly in politics. I really suggest that we don't go too heavily into politics, but at the same time, you have to be aware. And you have to be aware of, is the stock market up? Is the stock market down? You have to at least know what a 401k is. I mean, you have to have some interest in children and how behavior modification can come around. I mean, I think at least having a point of view on a lot of different things is really important, and reading lots of different periodicals about lots of different things. Or even watching TV shows if you're not a big reader, or now we have podcasts, and it's amazing how much information there can be out there. But I think you're right. Being interesting and being able to make someone smile and laugh is a really big skill. We're not born with it, but we can definitely work on it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there's so much need in the world for connection that they may be there because they know they need the exercise, but they're there for so much more, or they stay for so much more. You gave me 3 huge takeaways for this session. So we're talking to emerging trainers who may be, still thinking, which career pattern do I want to go, which direction, but what are some of the biggest things? I mean, you talk about the product. What is that big takeaway around, the product and how you become the best?
It's interesting. I think that we all have passion for outcomes, and we all have passion to make a difference. It's very interesting to me that a lot of young trainers cannot clearly state their point of view about nutrition, or about tissue care, or about strength endurance versus strength power versus hypertrophy. And I call it your Twitter feed. And you have to have a Twitter answer. It has to come in less than 30 seconds, what you think about nutrition. And to give you an example on that, I am not an expert on nutrition. So my job and my role as your fitness professional is to help you, motivate you towards making great food choices. And that's my philosophy about nutrition. And it doesn't mean I don't understand about the ratios of the different micro and macronutrients. I understand that. But my take on it and where this is about what I'm interested in providing is to motivate you to make great food choices. And we need to not try to impress people with a bunch of words. So we need to be able to say really quickly how we envision tissue care. So I think being able to say things in a simple way, make the complex simple, is really important. And that's kind of backwards to the way a lot of young trainers think they're going to get clients by using big words and trying to impress people.
So good. So good. So watch your character count. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then you talk a lot about the who as opposed to the what.
Yeah, I do. I think you have to have a really solid scientific foundation in order to get away with this being a long-term career. But I think sometimes I look around and I have worked in the same weight room, and we've gotten some new stuff and some toys here and there. But generally speaking, my life has been the same setting for 27 years, and I never get bored because every single client brings a different and unique challenge to me, and I get so psyched about that. I never get bored. I'm not a very good counter, just like every other trainer. I struggle with that. 10 is hard, and clients are like, that was only 10. And they still do that to me. Like, so they'll do that to you guys for 25 years. They'll be like, no, that was 10. And I'm like, that's fine. I never argue about numbers. But I just never get bored. And I'm excited about my client lineup for the day. I just love seeing people go out and play hard and really enjoy the work. And I feel like I've played a really positive role in their life. And so for me, it's way beyond sets and reps. It's about changing people's lives. It's about elongating their performance. Even world champions, they want to win the next race. But my goal for them is that they are a professional athlete for 10 or 12 years, and instead of 2 or 3 because they get horrible injuries. So I just get psyched by it. And there's always so much to learn. We have learned, I'm old enough to have been from the school of thought that said, definitely don't rotate under load. And we never used to, until the NASM said, you know what, people do get injured and their low backs get injured when they're picking up something off the floor like their kid. We better train them for that. And I can remember that shift in the way that I started training people to learn to control rotation first and then to rotate with load. And clients had so much more fun because then we started saying, well, movement is medicine. And then we did functional training. And, it's a fun journey. I don't know what's coming next, but I think it's going to have a lot to do with recovery. So.
Yeah. Amen. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And then the last thing is you have a unique way of addressing feedback and the way we get it, how we can process it. Talk a little bit about that.
That's interesting. So, yeah, I think that we can get verbal feedback and we can get nonverbal feedback. I think we can tell when somebody's bored. And if you can't, then you better start working on that. I think when we can tell when somebody is thinking about that their session needs to end early, and have some skills around bringing more excitement, even if it's not science-based. Sometimes there is a time when you are going to train the person, not the science, not the physical. There are things that we know people should do, but then there's things they want to do. And we have to give them that nice balance of both so that they can find that joy. They can do things that they enjoy. We're asking them, sometimes trainers feel like everyone needs to do a pull-up because they want to do a pull-up. And I think there's a lot of people that don't need to do a pull-up and they don't want to do a pull-up and they're embarrassed when they're learning to do a pull-up. And so I think that, really recognizing how it's going, is important. I was talking to my massage therapist last night and we were talking about 2 important things. And I wish I could give credit where credit is due, but I'm going to give credit to PTA Global, if I may, because I think that this is where I learned in this statement. And it goes like this. I'd love to go into character. Say, our time's almost done today. Is there anything that we didn't do today that you wish we had? And more often than not, the client's going to say to me, no, I feel great. This is good. We're good. And I go, okay, I've got 5 more minutes. I know what I want to do. Let's go do this. And they're going to do that. And, you know, I think that giving that client the opportunity to kind of, sometimes you have to spur them and you have to have that skill. So I kind of chuckle when I say, is there anything we didn't do today that you wish we had? And we both kind of laugh and they go, no, we're good. You know, and, but I'm not afraid. I'm never going to be experienced enough or good enough or have done this long enough to not ask that question. Because sometimes that client was like, well, last time we did intervals and I felt amazing the rest of the day. And like, I don't want to miss that moment for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's brilliant. And
then there's one more. I'm going to give you one more.
Yeah.
It was like, so on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being we killed it. How did we do today? And sometimes they'll say 8. And then of course you have to ask the next question. Don't be okay with an 8. What could we have done today that would have made it a 10? And that is, you know, that's something I learned. I didn't invent that, but I'm not afraid to ask that question. And what would have made it a 10? And what would have made it a 10 is really important to me. And let's go do that. Let's do a couple of those. And good God, I'm going to bank that information. You know, that's just such good information. So we are our own little business. We are our own little empire, and how we can kind of just data collect just in person is just so valuable.
Phenomenal. I love both of those last two. And here's why. We're about at the end. And Erin, is there anything that I didn't ask you today? What would that have been? You know, Deborah, this is such a fun job. You know, I have made really, really good decisions and hired really, really great people who have gone on to be super successful for me. I have hired people who I was really excited about who have failed miserably. I'm not afraid to be wrong. And I just love that you're doing this because it's helping. I think sometimes we just overemphasize the science and the process, and we forget to prepare our young trainers or even our experienced trainers on how to function in a professional way and you know, and to build into a really lifelong career in fitness. So I believe in a lifelong career of fitness. I often get a chance to speak to a lot of people, whether it's at a trade show or something like that. And I'll always say I would not own a health club if I wasn't allowed to train people on a daily basis, because I love being a fitness professional. So I'm thankful to people like you who still put the time in and the energy to hopefully talk to people like me and help everybody out there listening. So awesome. I love you. That's why we had you back.
Thanks.
Where is the best place for listeners to connect more with you?
You know, I think I'm having a lot of fun with my app right now because a lot of the techniques that I use, I am very much about making the complex simple. My webpage is ECFit Boulder. And there's obviously a way to connect with me through email, through the website. But that has been a really fun thing that I'm working on and something that's going to be a big part of the next 3 to 5 years for me. So let's go to ECFitBoulder.com.
Awesome. And if you're listening, you're working out, you're running, you're commuting, I got you covered. That'll be in the show notes. And if you've missed it with this podcast series, there's a handout, so you can jot down the notes to all of the juicy nuggets that Erin laid down here, plus any of our previous 6 experts interviews, and you've got them all in one place. Fitness pros listening, if you have a question that we missed, leave it below the show link at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/podcast. And I'd so appreciate it if you'd leave us a rating in iTunes. Check out the blog and other podcast episodes at fitnessmarketingmastery.com.